So hi everyone and welcome to the TNN Research and Development meeting. We are here in Alicante and open to discuss what we do. So I'm Federico, I'm the head of performance of Team Novo Nordisk, and my role into the research board is to make sure that everything we do is going to be applied to the field and to improve the benefit out of our riders. My background is in exercise physiology. I did a PhD, understanding how the body will improve efficiency in the model of cycling. And I'm working in the team since 5 years, moving forward to this new kind of project.
Hello, I'm Sam, and I'm the head of research for Team Novo Nordisk. So my role within the team is to collect data and looking forward to translating this into the scientific population as well as the lay population as well. So I did a PhD at Liverpool John Moores University, focusing on muscle metabolism and also with type 1 diabetes and blood glucose management during different intensities of exercise. And then I went and focused more on this in Toronto, really specializing in type 1 diabetes.
I'm Charlotte Hayes. I am head of diabetes, wellness, and education at Team Novo Nordisk. I've been with the team for 5 years, focusing on supporting glucose management, optimizing glucose management with our riders, ensuring that they're staying healthy and well, and doing a lot of education both within the team and externally to get the message out about exercise and type 1 diabetes. My educational background is I have master's degrees, one in exercise physiology and another in nutrition and dietetics. So that's me.
So going forward with the meeting, we had some questions so far, and we will try to address all of these questions, building up a discussion panel between the people around this table. And we will be open to every questions you might have in the future to kind of go deeper and let you be part of how we do, why we do, and what we do. So starting from what we have done so far, the process started almost 1 year ago, observing the reality of TNN and trying to find where our approach can have an impact, mainly targeting those areas where we will see a beneficial input in the near future. So maybe Sam, you can go forward with what we have done so far.
So really at the beginning what we wanted to do was find out what the riders are currently doing. So we have a group of people who have been managing their diabetes really well, competing at such a high level. And before coming in and suggesting any changes, we really need to understand that and build up a good relationship with these guys. So we have a lot of measurements that allow us to non-invasively collect data while these guys are racing. So for example, continuous glucose monitors, which allows us to measure their 24-hour glucose. We can have all of the power metric data off their bikes, heart rate, we're looking at nutrition, and we can try and piece that together, look for gaps within their performance and their training by which we can add improvement. Secondly, we've been looking to kind of build up a better relationship with these guys and understand their needs a little bit better. So we've been doing things such as designing questionnaires, having one-on-one meetings with the guys, and based on that we've come up with a kind of roadmap by which we're looking to optimize certain areas of training and performance. So if we move on to the next question, so maybe if I ask Fede, because he knows most about this, so what kind of tests do you do with these guys?
So I do believe that the question is mainly related to performance testing,
Yeah.
what we do on the bike actually. Just to give you a brief introduction, the testing session, we use the testing session mainly to prescribe exercise and to monitor exercise as well, longitudinally in time. So we do an average of 3 to 4 testing sessions a year. We do both laboratory testing session indoor, where we try to control as many variables as possible, and we also do some field testing sessions on the bike. And as Sam said, we are interested in looking into the association between power output and how the body reacts. We mainly do maximal testing on the bike of different durations. We do some ramp incremental exercise to the point of exhaustion, and the aim is to stress the ability to the body to move oxygen from the ambient air to the muscle and therefore to perform work. And in association, we will collect oxygen consumption, we will collect lactate accumulation and glucose as well, trying to understand what's the relationship between glucose control or glucose level and the performance outcomes over every testing session we do. And another type of testing sessions we do is not a ramp incremental exercise, but those are kind of constant exercise at different intensities to understand, for example, how the body is coping with a rapid change in the intensity, what's the speed of adjustment of the metabolism, for example, how lactate is accumulated over time, and how these things is changing through the course of the season.
Okay. So the next question, are the guys wearing insulin pumps and CGM monitors, or are they doing injections? So all of our riders are using continuous glucose monitors, and this allows them to see over a 24-hour period what their blood glucose or their glucose levels are. At the moment, the majority of the guys on the team are using injections, but this isn't necessarily better or worse than an insulin pump. It seems to really just be down to personal preference, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of pattern for something that's more or less positive for these guys. It's very much an individual basis. So moving forward, we'll probably look to understand kind of the reasoning behind why they would decide to use these kind of one device over another. But I think it's very individual. So
as the technology of CGM has evolved, that's really been a game changer, and being able to have that data and for the riders to view that CGM data in real time has really helped them to be able to manage their glucose very well, depending on whether they choose to be on a pump or they choose to try multiple daily injections. That said, we do want to understand the reason for the choices that they do make in terms of decisions about pump therapy versus intensive insulin therapy using insulin pens with long-acting and rapid-acting insulin.
May I ask you a question? What are the potential benefits of, for example, using a pump?
Mm-hmm. So benefits of a pump are based on basal rates being much more flexible. Our riders who are not on insulin pumps are using a long-acting insulin, so they're able to inject that insulin once or maybe twice a day. So it's not quite as nimble in terms of managing basal rates. The pump is much more nimble in that those basal rates can be adjusted on the hour, on 2 hours. So for example, if our athlete is going to ride or train for 3 hours, they can change their basal rate 45 minutes ahead of the ride. Otherwise, if they're on a long-acting insulin, the insulin on board is on board. So the major benefit of the pump is a lot more flexibility, the pump being a little bit more nimble in terms of basal rates and also settings are in the pump that help the rider to know their carbohydrate to insulin ratios, their insulin sensitivity factors. So some of these things are automated for them as well. So those are the main benefits.
Yeah. Something to add on the side?
Yeah, it's probably worth saying as well that there are reasons that you would choose pens, especially if you're a professional cyclist. So, for example, like maybe not wanting to kind of be attached to something. This is something that the riders have said, or fear that if it fails, then if they're on one part of the world, that they can't get access to a replacement. So it really seems to be down to what the riders have found works best for them. Yeah.
No, thank you.
So the next question, how do the riders adapt their insulin treatment depending on the race day, training day, or rest day? So maybe Charlotte, if you...
Well, each rider develops their own strategy, really. It's very personalized because diabetes is not the same for everyone. On over race days, when maybe they're in a racing day after day after day for 5 days, riders will often become more insulin sensitive, and so they're working strategically on reducing their insulin, both their basal insulin and their rapid acting insulin. Recovery days and rest days, again, they will need more insulin because their body just is requiring more insulin to cover the fuels on these days. So our riders really do learn to be flexible, and they have race day and rest day and recovery day and travel day kind of profiles for their insulin management.
Yeah, and perhaps using a pump would allow a kind of an improved data collection on the topic, and you will be able to observe a bit more what is happening.
Yeah, so one of the advantages of the pump is when we're looking at data, we can see that data. The data is in the pump, and it goes into the platforms that we use for things, and we can see markers where riders have taken insulin to cover meals or taken correction insulin. We know what their basal rates are. So that's an advantage of smart pens as well, is that we get markers and we have a better understanding of insulin and why glucose curves look the way they do. We get more information from the research side or from the clinical side. That's really important and helpful.
Yeah, okay, so let's move to the next question. How do riders handle adrenaline before or after a race? And do riders take insulin to cover the spike?
So this is something that riders are kind of really, it's dependent on the situation. There's not really a one-size-fits-all for this. The guys have worked very hard on an individual basis to develop strategies to deal with this, and yeah, there isn't really a set way you can do this. I mean, is there anything you can kind of think of?
Well, we really do have to look through the scenario in terms of the duration of the race, heat, maybe the fuels that they've been consuming before the hard effort that they're doing. So it's that adrenaline spike, but also there can be other variables that are contributing to that spike, and how to handle, bringing that spike down using insulin, using recovery in terms of cooling down. Really, it's a pretty complex thing. It's not an easy one-size-fits-all solution.
Yes, one of the things we are doing is trying to optimize the approach to a race. we're trying to control as much as possible the environment in order to give the rider a better decision-making approach, to understand how the body is responding to the stress, for example, and how to cope with it, to go into the race in the best possible situation.
Okay, so the next question, what excites you as a scientist about being part of this research group? So I'll maybe start with Charlotte if you want to answer this one first.
Well, to me, the exciting thing is being able to look at data and to figure out how to implement that, take that information and turn it into strategies that we can use. And we know that they're sound strategies when we're helping our riders to perform at their best. We're helping them to manage glucose. So that to me is kind of translating and having a sound way of knowing that we're doing the best thing that we know because we put some research behind it.
Yeah, what is exciting for me is mainly linking the field and science, but the translational part of the story, trying to apply what has been studied in the past and what is going to be studied in the future into something that will have a benefit on the field, and especially caring about riders' performance directly on our rider. And in addition, the ability to apply a scientific method in everything we do, it's going to make sure that what we will apply is bulletproof from an evidence base, and it will give us more trust and confidence from the riders in the first place, but also in identify key areas and how to address those areas. So the methods and how we approach every part of the roadmap we are developing, it's what fascinated me the most.
Yeah, for me, very similar to that. Looking at how we can translate really what we've been doing from lab-based studies into real life, and looking at how the unpredictability of a race and what we've learned previously, we can really apply that and hopefully make a real difference to what the team is doing. Yeah, that's exciting for me.
Yeah. So next point, someone is asking a very interesting questions actually. What are some of the challenges?
Well, there's not a whole lot known about diabetes management in high-performance sport. So though there are strong evidence-based papers about type 1 diabetes and exercise, these athletes are doing something really exceptional. And so there's challenge there in gaining more information, but also condensing that into diabetes and glucose management for our riders. It's a the whole scenario around doing research on a cycling team, we've already alluded to this, especially in a race situation, there are so many factors that are uncontrollable. So we're really doing research in a challenging environment many times.
Yeah, there's lots of challenges with this. Maybe trying to control all of the variables when you're collecting data on a tour. You really don't know what's going to happen. You're in a different hotel room every single night. You're trying to collect high quality data, and this is very different. So taking what you do in a lab-based background and doing something very applied, it's difficult.
So speaking on behalf of the riders, I think that one of the main challenges is gaining trust and confidence from their point of view, because without them, we're not able to improve what we do. So one of the main challenges we had and we will always have is to get them hooked and to try to let them understand that what we do have an impact on what they will do. But then we have to demonstrate that what we do is science proof and so it's evidence-based, and they will reduce as much as possible any risk of impairing their performance. So that's probably, in my opinion, another very, very big question. So I think it's all. Thank you very much for being our audience. Hope you enjoyed the session, and in the future, very soon, we will open our research page on our website with some contents about what we're doing so far, what we did, and what's our future steps.